This is very auspicious in the fight against world communism, obviously. This is the most hopeful time we have seen in quite some time. We know the events that happened in Venezuela, and we know they're going to have an impact on Cuba.
With the capture of former Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, Cuba and its allies are scrambling. Here at the Victims of Communism Museum in Washington, D.C., analysts gathered to examine the Cuban regime's campaign of terror more than 6 decades in the making.
Which Cuban and Soviet troops.
The panelists listed several crimes by the Cuban communist regime and its support for other authoritarian states.
The number of Ethiopians killed by Mengistu and his Cuban allies were between 225,000 and 317,000, including at least over 1,000 children between 11 and 13 years of age.
With Cuba even aiding ongoing wars.
Ukrainian intelligence reports that as many as 25,000 Cubans have been recruited to fight in Putin's imperial war in Ukraine today, and that presently 6,000 to 7,000 are in the field.
Cuba recently admitted that 32 Cuban military and intelligence personnel were killed by U.S. forces during the January 3rd arrest of Venezuela's Maduro. Some of those killed were members of Maduro's personal security detail. Following that, and because of Cuba's reliance on Venezuelan oil due to a U.S. embargo, President Trump said,
"Cuba is ready to fall."
In 1966, the Cuban communist regime hosted the Tricontinental Conference in Havana, forming a violent terror network with dozens of countries across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, and with economic and military support from the Soviet Union and China. Over the next 60 years, these organizations carried out terrorist assassinations, violent revolutions, and plots to overthrow democratic governments across the world.
At this point, I am sure that the regime leaders in Cuba are looking for an exit strategy to maintain basically their ill-begotten gains and their life. Because there will be, in short order, I think, a regime change in Cuba.
It is long past time for them to go. They need to see the handwriting on the wall. Their economy has collapsed. They are abusive of their own people.
Adding that everything happening today in Iran and Venezuela is a blow to the Chinese Communist Party.
They're clearing all the distractions, whether it's Ukraine, the Middle East, or Latin America, so we can focus the might and power of the United States on our existential threat, which I think this administration perceives to be China.
We absolutely have to make sure that we reduce, minimize, eliminate China's influence.
Whether it's Cuba, the Chinese Communist Party, Russia, or Iran, panelists say that the oppression is a common theme, and they warn the coming months could be decisive, not just for Cuba, but for the entire network of authoritarian regimes. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Jack Bradley, NTD News.